I'm the Assistant Chief of Police here at Alexandria Police Department. I'm here to discuss two shootings that occurred on August the 26th, Saturday. First shooting occurred at approximately 7:52 p.m. That was in the approximate 3800 block of Florence Drive. When our units arrived, there was one victim. That victim is in stable condition. And at the second shooting came out 13 minutes later. That was located on the 700 block of Patrick and Franklin. Both shootings are not related. Let me make that very clear. These shootings are not related to each other. The second shooting took place. We have cameras and in the area showing approximately 50 to 75 motor vehicles, ATVs, mopeds in the area. That shooting took place between two gas stations where they pulled in and they began to fire shots in that area. Both of these cases are under investigation. They are not related. There were two victims at that scene from the gas station. They fled the area before we arrived. One victim is a 30-year-old male. The second victim is also a 30-year-old male. One was located near National Harbor and was taken to an area hospital. The second one, we were notified at a local hospital, also a 30-year-old male with a gunshot wound. And again, those are both under investigation. The key issue here is the gun violence. We are working to keep the streets safe with the traffic violations. These vehicles are not to be on the road. They're not titled for the road. The code in Virginia, the law says that these vehicles cannot be on the street. So there is a penalty that works with that. It is a $500 fine if they are caught on the streets with those vehicles. At this time, we are continuing to look for those individuals that are involved with these crimes. If you have any additional information, please send that in. We've made that very clear where you can contact us for that. Are there any questions?
Assistant Chief, what is the circumstances of the shooting on Patrick Street at the Speedway? Did it occur at the Speedway, or was it gunfire that came also from the Liberty? Because I understand that there were ATVs and bikes at both gas stations at the time.
The entire thing is under investigation, but the shooting took place on those properties.
So there was was the shooting at the Speedway, or did the gunfire come from the Liberty? That's what we're trying to.
There was shooting at both locations.
Both locations?
That is correct.
Okay.
So were the two men who were injured, were they part of that group? Were they bystanders, or is that part still?
We're unaware of that. We don't know that at this time. What we do know is that they were there and they left the scene before our officers arrived.
And you said both were eventually treated at the hospital, or just one?
I said that both were treated at a local hospital in the region.
Are they both expected to be okay?
All of them were in stable condition.
Do you know if the shooter was involved? Was that shooter on an ATV or on a dirt bike?
That would hamper the case. I'm not going to discuss that one. I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay. So you don't, I guess the question is, was this someone who was irritated at the bikers, or was this person involved with all that biking?
I am not going to answer that question. It would mess the case.
And based on social media videos, this group was in D.C., it was in Arlington. I mean, did you get a heads up from other police that they were headed your way? And did you give a heads up, say, to Prince George's County they were headed their way?
Yeah, I think if you live in the region, that this is not the first time that this has taken place. Each jurisdiction has a plan in place for if it does come in. We did communicate with Arlington. We were aware of them coming into that direction, and they did come in. And we had an officer there at that particular area where the shooting took place. However, we had a shooting at 7:52, and that took resources to that particular area. By the time the first report of the next shooting came out at 8:05 p.m., our officers went back to that scene, and everybody had left that area. Even the victims had left that area at that time. So yes, we're aware of it, and we have a plan if it comes into our area. It is the gun violence that makes this, the reckless abandonment, the behavior that changes this.
And just for clarity, you said you got a heads up from Arlington, they were coming your way?
That is correct.
Okay. And did you give any tickets to anybody who was there, that $500 ticket you mentioned, any of them at all?
Yeah, no, everybody was gone by the time we arrived.
So what do you do now? Do you have photographs of them, or are you gonna put them on a website and ask people to try and identify them? What do you do about that?
So we live in a time now where there's a lot of videos, cell phone footage. We will prosecute as we get the information. These dirt bikes are not to be on the street, and we will enforce the law. If you come into the city of Alexandria, if you come into Virginia, the law will be enforced with these vehicles. So we are working with this investigation to get to the bottom of these.
Can you confirm that there was a witness to the shooting who had nothing to do with it, whose vehicle was hit by gunfire?
I can't answer that question at this point in time, but we do have witnesses.
Are you able to say how many shots total were fired and how many shooters we're talking about?
I don't want to get into that to damage the case, but there were multiple shots fired at the second shooting scene at the gas stations.
Can you say if there was an exchange of gunfire?
I think that to be safe at this point would be just to say that there was gunfire from both locations.
So we have time for one more
So,
question.
just to clarify that, multiple shooters then?
It would appear, the evidence would appear at this point in time that there were multiple weapons, yes.
Sir, can you just clarify one thing real quick? You were mentioning just now how Arlington alerted you all that, hey, heads up. Would you say that's kind of the main part of this plan, working with the other jurisdictions, that you guys just have to communicate as soon as you know something? I know you can't reveal all of your plans, but can you just clarify what's the most important part of working together?
It's the communication within the region. This region does an excellent job with working with our partners to communicate. And it's not just this as a traffic issue that was coming into the jurisdiction. It could be anything that we communicate with each other. We continue that in crimes often spread from one jurisdiction to the other, all right? And that could be traffic behavior as well. If someone was speeding recklessly in Arlington County and they were coming into our county, they would let us know as well, and we would do the same.
What is your policy on ATVs and dirt bikes?
We follow the law that they're not supposed to be on the street. You will be given a $500 fine for each occurrence. You need to wear your helmet, and we will seize the vehicle and release the vehicle to the rightful owner once we seize the vehicle. It's no different than driving a car on the road with no tags. You'll receive a ticket.
Do you pursue them? Are you allowed to pursue them?
I don't think that it's the pursuit is the correct word to use. We manage the apprehension with safety. So if safety is the key thing that's involved here.
And did you know how this group met up? Like, did they organize it on social media? Did they organize, like, do you know how it all started? Obviously they had organized somehow. Do you have any idea how they all got together and started?
No, I don't have any idea on where they started. I don't know that.
Okay, thanks everyone.